Hello, baby. Okay, come here, notes. Oh wait, I don't need you yet. Where's my other notes? Ah, notepad notes. I see you over on this other monitor. Let's see. There's only a couple things to mention. Firstly, from the past episode, the third sealer that people were talking about that they reference as being the one that's with Lautrec that we're going to be seeing later in Orlando, I kind of discount that because, one, he doesn't appear to be a phantom. And I say that come on. This is one thing about Blighttown. There's so many of these little bitty... Like, if you just kind of walk and try to be careful, you can't cross things. So, fuck it. Let's look at this for a while. Let's look at my butt while we do it, too. Look at that butt. Okay, but the third sealer with Lautrec, I kind of discount that because if he was actually from our world, and remember, we're invading Lautrec at that point, so we are inside of his world at that point in time. So if he was from ours as well, he would appear to be a phantom. And he isn't, which seems to mean that if that is one of the sealers, it's one of the sealers that is present inside of his world. So that could be his Ingward, for all we know. Or it could just be a guy that killed him and is running around wearing some parts of his clothes. So who knows? There's all sorts of weird shit that goes on with Dark Souls, and that is no exception. Alright, that's enough of that. Come on. Let's see. What else do I have to talk about? Actually, I should have pointed that. I think I'll go do that. Let's get this... these guys are geniuses, aren't they? By the way, these guys are called, they're not like lizard men. I refer to them as lizard men sometimes just because they sort of look that way to me. They're actually called infested ghouls. And their thing is they eat human flesh. Like if they get their grab on you, they get their grab on, and they latch onto your face, they will start trying to eat you, which is none too pleasant and is quite rude, if I do say so myself. I will point that out just because this thing down here, where is it? It's probably right under me, actually. I'll have to move over a second. Well, where is it? Gotta be around here somewhere. I'm not going to go all the way down just to see... Alright, I am going to go all the way down just to see it, for fuck's sake. Anyways. Infested ghouls. The big fat men are actually called infested barbarians. Here we are. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. That's the stuff. That's the ticket. Don't get too close to him. Come on. For fuck's sake. Let's see. The big spider things are called crag spiders, and the things that I have been killing for large titanite shards are called giant leeches. And they also, I forgot about this, drop a shitload of green titanite shards. It is a shame that I will not need a single one of them. And this guy right here is called the parasitic wall hugger. And he's kind of an asshole. Never really noticed his legs. They're kind of just latched onto here. Actually, in a way, he sort of looks like the weird multi-eyed demon things that are in Islith. I'll let you try to get a good look at him, get the lighting just right on him. But he to me, he sort of looks like a I don't know, like a mosquito, like a mosquito's butt, as it sucks all sorts of juicy goodness right into its butt. Kind of has suction cups going on there, and if I can get a better view, he has this weird tail. You can actually damage him with ranged attacks by hitting him in that little tail right there, but that thing is just going absolutely crazy. It is loving it. I don't know what it's doing, but it is loving every moment of it. You really had, you know, this thing's kind of an asshole, and we need to kill it. But, you know, you gotta respect the fact that it loves life as much as it does. Now, it's called a parasitic wall hugger. What exactly it is parasiting itself on, I don't know. It could be that this does sort of look like a drainage ditch, so maybe it's just eating poop all day long. Just poop, more poop, and then a steady diet afterwards of more poop. But either way, I don't much care for the smell that it's emanating, so let's go put a cork in that, shall we? What else do I have to do? I wanted to mention just that... also wanted to mention that German spy, I was talking to him the other day, and I was saying something about dying in Blighttown or something, and he kind of ridiculed it or something or other. And I said, well, have you ever done Oh, I was talking with Pat, and this was during our little meeting that we had. And I said, well, have you ever done live comm in Blighttown? And he said, yes, I have, actually. So like, oh, well, how well did it go? And he said, fucking terrible. It is the worst, one of the worst live comm I've ever done. It's like, well, no fucking kidding. Anyways, here we have ourselves the parasitic wall hugger. I wonder if we can... Does he have like a weird mouth right here? Or an anus? I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm gonna get a drink of water as you guys stare deep into this thing's possible anus. Ah, yeah. Fuck yeah. I promise that was water. I promise. But maybe it is eating for this end. But either way, I don't really much care for the way that it looks, so let's just get rid of it. You can't really tell if you're hitting it or not. But this is one of two ways that you can kill it. Again, the other one is ranged. So it didn't much care for that. But it's gone. Which is kind of unfortunate because that is the only one of those things in the entire game. There is no other parasitic wallhugger anywhere else. Which is really, really strange to me. But it was guarding this, the Pyromancer, the Pyromancer, what the fuck's wrong with me? I can already tell this is going to be a magnificent episode. The Pyromancy, power within. And people use the shit out of this thing, because they're assholes. Which is a good reason to use things, if you're an asshole. What the hell am I doing here? I've been farming like shit. I'll say this, I got the Cat Covenant thing kind of maxed out for the most part. Well, I got the Ring of Fog, in other words. But in the process, you can get a shitload of souls, especially with these dicks that are running around at level 800, or whatever it is. Which, ever so often, you'll get one of those. More often, it's just people that are around the SL 120 range. Anyways, Power Within. Pyromancy of Carmina, who harness the power of flame to actualize the inner self. Short strength and transpose. Excessive power eats away the life force of its caster. And like all dangerous spells, Power Within was kept secret for eons. Okay, so what this actually does, which I'm kind of iffy about, because it's just another damage boost spell, in other words. But you equip it, use it on yourself, and it causes a constant health point drain. And you can sort of offset this in various ways. Oh, you can curse yourself, and cursing yourself halves like the amount of damage that you take from it. So you can end up offsetting that with some like a miracle that boosts your health recovery or something like. It's been a long time since I've thought about it, but people make all sorts of builds around using that shit. I really don't like spells and abilities like that because it doesn't really do anything, as I've complained about in the past. It just raises damage. And by the way, I will point out over there that maybe it could be insinuating that the thing that we just got through killing used to be Carmina. That's one interpretation that you could look at. Or maybe it's just a weird-ass thing that they had modeled, and they were like, put it somewhere. Where should we put it, boss? I don't know, put it over this Pyromancy for some reason. God knows we've already fucked up enough of this game. But, something else I want to add. This Blighttown seems to be a region that is full of things that suck blood, eat flesh, and basically just survive off consuming one another. Why things aren't bigger here, I really don't know. You think if, especially those ghouls, were eating humanity, then you know, they would be much larger. Since that seems to be an ongoing theme with humanity. Anyways, Eagle Shield. People used to rush to get this thing because it is the lightest of all the great shields. And it used to have 100% physical damage reduction, but they patched that out, I believe. Although that happened before I started playing, so I'm kind of iffy on the details. Great shield with an eagle design. There you get it, see all the eagle shields got an eagle design. Oh, so clever. Lightest and easiest great shield to handle. Great shields are very stable and deflect attacks, but one cannot parry and instead bashes with the shield. That's the reason why I like the iron round shield that we're going to be getting this episode. That we're going to be, hint, that we're going to be getting this episode. Because the thing with great shields is that whenever most enemies hit your great shield, it causes their attacks to bounce off. In other words, they can't just do like a full 3-hit combo on your shield, and then right after they're done, go into another 3-hit combo or something like that. If they try to hit you, they're going to bounce off, and they're going to go, whoa, I can't play like a shitty piece of crap. Why so unfair? And so you end up getting an attack on them. Not really healthy for the overall gameplay, but then again, combos and stun locking aren't healthy for gameplay either, but those are things that they keep choosing to leave inside of these games in various capacities. Anyways, let's take a look at it, why not? Eagle Shield. I can't see anything in this fucking lighting. Look how fucking bright this ground is! You can't see jack shit. There we go. Oh, yeah. You just look precious. Kind of looks like an Indian, Native American, or Aztec, you know, that sort of thing. To me, it does anyways. I'm sure that the comments are going to be full of, no, it's based on ancient Chinese. Then they start farting out their mouths, or you know, what you people do. Anyways, and I think, which one was it that had 385? I wonder if there's any that have a better... Oh, it is. Yeah, that's true, that's true. But it weighs a lot more, so I'm just going to keep this for the time being. By the way, yes, I know, you can use the damn rusted iron. By the way, I went ahead and cheated the old witch's ring in for... I'm going to be doing this episode too, so I wanted to show this off as quickly as possible. I cheated this in because the only other way to get it is to trade the sunlit maggot to this dumb crow things, and that's the way that you get it that way. I'm not going to do that, obviously, because by the time that you open up the path to be able to get the come on, tongue. By the time that you open up that path, you have already gone through all the dialogue of the witch and the fair lady and so on. So the old witch's ring is kind of useless to you. Anyways, yes, I know I could use the rusted iron ring down here. Really, I'll only use it in Sin's Fortress, in the one area that you basically have to use it in. I mean, the only reason why you would use it here is to try to avoid the poison even more than you already do. And I can kind of do that on my own in the first place without having to worry about the ring. And it would be a little bit more useful, but honestly, just having the poison is not that big of a deal in the first place. So what does it really matter? What does it really matter? And I'll go ahead and tell you guys that I am... By the way, while I'm thinking about it, have you noticed that they have these little rickety things? They're just planks that are kind of nailed together, glued together, maybe with their cum, who knows? Maybe they're just... all day long, they eat human flesh and then just cum copious amounts all over boards and fashion them together into easels. I don't know. Kind of look like easels to me. Maybe all the people in Blighttown were amateur painters, and this is where they ended up because society doesn't have much use for painters. And this is where they just put all of them. Really, that's a good policy to have. That is a good policy to have. Oh yeah, I forgot. Haven't collected all these things yet. But you can kind of drop down in all sorts of places. I'm going to try to remember where all the items are in this area. But it is pretty awkward. Yeah, Soul of the Proud Knights. Get out of the way, easel. I'm sure many beautiful paintings were rendered on each one of these easels. All painted with blood and cum. Blood and cum. That's the only thing they have to work with down here. Blood, cum, and diarrhea. God diarrhea. Diarrhea of the gods. I was shooting these guys with arrows, and sometimes they'll fall off the ledges on their own. I killed this dog. This one kind of just mysteriously died. I'm not really sure how he died. Have you ever noticed that they don't really have eyes? This is a weird little thing. It probably doesn't mean much of anything. It's just, they kind of just look like big piles of meat, to be honest. I wonder if they're probably just red just because, hey, they're fire dogs, they gotta be red. But maybe they burned all their flesh off, or I don't know. Make up your own shit. I don't have to hand feed you guys story. Okay. But here's where I have not been. Let's go ahead and... should I? Yeah, let's go ahead. Lighting this thing is not really going to do anything for us, because I would have to sit down. But I really don't want to sit down, because I've cleared a lot of area. So if I die in a most hilarious way, then, well, I guess we'll just have to laugh, or you will. I will be quite irate, as it were. Okay, and I don't think they'll come out just yet. But of course, everyone should pay attention to this guy. What the hell he's doing in here, I have no idea. It is amazing to me that not only is our ghoul friend here trapped inside of this jar, but he's also well-armed, all things considered. How he got in this jar, who put him there, maybe he put himself in there, who knows. But he seems to be trapped. It's up to us to free him. To free him from life by killing him, because we're going to murder him. Anyways, take a look at his head. I just kind of wanted to point out that it seems like their head alone, their bodies seem to be more or less human. But they seem to have been sort of evolving over time, or maybe they've mutated or something, to be more beast-like in a way. As though they have evolved more for eating flesh. I don't know, kind of weird. Anyways, he's nice and shiny. He looks pretty sexual in a lot of ways. His little monkey ears really creep me out for some reason. I don't know. I don't like him. So let's get rid of him. Shatter your jar. There's your home. This is what I think your home now. I will also point out that this guy is wielding a spear. A lot of them wield sort of shitty broken swords. Some of them, of course, wield hilarious... Need head. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Some of them wield a hilarious sort of body on a stick, which is pretty damn funny. I'll give them that. So I guess they're carrying around this sort of delicious man pop, like this. This guy's wielding a man pop, and he's sort of eating it away over time. You get out of here! Go on now! Go on, get on! There's plenty of these guys up here, and here comes more of them. Hello, sweetie pie. You have to be very careful on Blighttown. And this, you can fall through these planks right here. So be very careful when you're picking up this large soul of a nameless soldier. Super important. Let's see, what else? I got a large club while farming our big fatman. The fatman. Shut up, loudmouth. Okay, anyways, what we need to do is get across over here, I think. Yes, okay. It's been a while since I've actually been up here. But we're gonna slide down here, and there's nothing else up here of note, is there, before I fall down? I don't think so. Look like some banners up there. And just more shitty planks. Shit planks everywhere as far as the eye can see. Now, you remember our friend down there that was guarding, Shiva? This is his stuff. Why is it here? I mean, you think that if you're a game designer, you would think that FromSoft would say, well, how are we going to allow the player to get this? And they would just say, well, if they kill the guy, then they'll get it. But for some reason, they decided to instead put it on a random corpse up in Blighttown for God knows what reason. And let's see. Is there anything of merit with it? It's probably down here. By the way, Eastern... Have I done this yet? This main thrust of battles. Yeah, I'd never read this, but this isn't really anything special. This helm offers excellent defense, particularly versus slash attacks, which are one of the main thrusts and battles of the East. Well, that's true, actually. It's sort of pseudo-Japan is in the East in this universe. Shadow Mask, black cloth mask worn by spooks, once again, from an eastern land, designed so as not to hinder the unique form of martial arts. Oh, no, I'll go into that in a second. While it sacrifices defense for the sake of greater mobility, it does offer resistance to bleeding, poison, amongst other things, especially in the nature of espionage. Now, I will go ahead and mention that ninjas, actual ninjas, historical ninjas from Japan, never actually wore all black. Ninjas actually were they were sort of just terrorists. They were basically usually just like farmers, basic ordinary civilians that were kind of sick of samurai's bullshit. I'm being very historically inaccurate right now, but I'm just kind of just poking fun. But they were just normal everyday people. And so they knew that the easiest way to hide was not to dress in all black and wear a special headgear piece and sneak around all ninja-like. Ooh, I'm being sneaky. They knew the best way to get around is just to, just walk around in normal everyday people clothes, like a sane person would. And I need to get up there. Should I just go ahead? Yeah, let's just go ahead and go this way, because I'm going to be wasting time otherwise. So, most of the time they just wore, all the time, they wore ordinary people clothes. And you might wonder, well, where did the black, sort of stereotypical ninja stuff come from? Come here, water. Even though this water is pretty warm, it's still pretty nice. This is actually what we do. We pump well water up from the ground. We actually have access to well water. I cannot drink city water. That is the most foul-tasting shit I've ever had in my life. You think, well water's just water from under the ground. It probably tastes like dirt. And you'd be wrong. It tastes amazing. It tastes like the souls of babies, because this is what makes it taste delicious. I don't know. There's one of these asshole Blowdart guys that we need to get rid of. Oh, I'll handle him in a bit. But we pump it out of the ground, well water, and then we put it inside of a, oh, see, there he goes. There's a little dick goes now. I might as well just handle this now. And then we run it through a, gravity cleaner, whatever you want to call it. And that makes it nice and clean, nice and tasty, nice and orgasmic. What was I saying about the... Oh, ninjas. But the reason why that the kind of stereotypical ninja look is a thing is because... And I can't get this exactly right, but during theater... let's just go ahead and handle him this way. During Japanese theater, kabuki, blah, 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 that sort of stuff, there he goes, firing again. People would... people would have to be moved around, like, they would have to move set pieces, and, like, if someone had to sort of jump really high, or if they had to move something, that... Really? Huh, what if... Oh, they climbed up. Oh, okay, okay. They would, This is more of them? No, that one was... I thought there was 3 of them, because they kicked that guy's corpse around, and he was flailing around hilariously. Let's do some of that while we're waiting. Basically, it's sort of like modern theater. Modern theater, people will dress in all black to signify to the audience that they are people that they're not supposed to pay attention to. They are, they are non-characters. They don't really flop around hilariously like I want them to. Come on, do it. Whatever. You guys are such disappointments. No wonder you're down here. Artist my ass. You can T-pose all you want, that doesn't impress me. Your shitty ass. Diarrhea matte paintings. Okay. But... Oh, there he is. But, that was the case. I think that's the last toxic guy that we have to deal with, and I think there's just a soul down here, and then that's going to be it for this area. But it was the same with Japanese theater. They had guys dressed in all black. So whenever they had a story that involved a ninja, then sometimes what they would do, they would really pull the wool. This is really quite clever, actually. They would pull the wool over the eyes of the audience. Come on. There you go. Who's a special boy? And this fat ass might try to waddle his way down here. I hope this is going to be as hilarious as... Ah, it's not going to be as hilarious as I wanted. Oh, well. Maybe I can get him to turn around and fall down that way. Maybe I can... No, come on. No, no, no. Come on, come on. I'm trying to backstab him and make him fall off the edge. I shouldn't be dicking around, but... Ah, well. You deprive me of my source of amusement. This is all I have. I'm not married. I don't have children. All I have is beating the shit out of virtual monsters. You robbed it from me. You asshole. Okay. I have lots of doo-doo, by the way. Anyways. They would take one of these guys that were dressed in all black and basically have him sort of take, he would take center stage suddenly, like he would perform an assassination or something. And that would surprise the audience immensely because, these are guys that are not supposed to be participating in the story whatsoever. They're just background guys that move around shit. And that's sort of where the modern conception of a ninja dressed all in black came from. So the modern portrayal of a ninja came from the idea that they wanted these stagehands to portray the ninjas as coming out of nowhere and hiding amongst commoners. And that's the end of that tale. While I'm thinking about the large club, because I forget about, there's so much going on that I forget about things very quickly. By the way, I'm going to go into post-com later, not because the quality of the thing's going to go down, which I'm sure that it will, but it's actually because I have this. My other show notes. And this is for the sake of explaining Quelaag, the Fair Lady, and the Chaos Covenant, and all that shit. And this is going to be by far the most confusing and detail-ridden part of the whole game as far as lore goes. And it's going to take me a long time to get through it. So I wrote it down, and it occupies an entire half page. And I write very small, by the way. It occupies a whole half page of details. And you're going to be really enamored with how I handle this once I get to it. But then I'll probably start post-com once I get to Quelaag. Anyways, large club. Large wooden club, the giant undead of Blighttown wield these clubs, which become poisonous from the influence of their surroundings. Okay, let's show off the moveset of this briefly. I really don't... I'm kind of a fan of strength weapons more than dexterity weapons. But the problem with strength weapons is that, one, they're kind of few and far in between. And another is that they tend to have really terrible movesets. But this is its R2, and which is pretty hilarious if you can actually hit anyone with it. R1 for two-handed, one-handed R1. Yeah, it's just kind of, it's just boring. This, however, is a really great move, because it auto-tracks like a son of a bitch. It's really good for PvP, or at least in my experience it was. I always enjoyed kind of harassing people with it. When my connection was behaving anyways. And it has this rolling sort of clearance attack. A lot of people use the large club over the great club because this one's moveset is so much better. You know, it's kind of the same thing in many ways, but it kind of opens things up a lot more with the shit that it has going on here. I have upgraded quite a few of these other things, by the way, which took a shitload of farming. And the large Titanite shards don't drop quite as often as I would like. That's for sure. Let's get you off there. Show off the partisan for a little bit. I'm probably going to switch this off pretty quickly, though. And I'm going to have to try to make this jump over here. I might die here, but I'm not using the 60 frames per second mod. So I should be able to make a pretty good clearance jump. And even with 60 frames, you can still kind of make it. Although it shortens your jump to such a huge degree that it's kind of iffy. Really, the only thing you really have to worry about is just not jumping in time. But here we have the... How do you pronounce this, anyways? Iaito? I don't know. I'm not a big Japanese person, so I can't really pronounce things like that. Iaito. I don't know. Anyways, this is a katana, so I won't be using it. I won't be using it. Katana forged in the Eastern Land. The katana is drawn from the scabbard at lightning speed, using an Iojutsu technique, which is complete bullshit. Physics doesn't work that way. Whenever you put matter next to other matter, it does not cause the other matter to accelerate at lightning speeds. It's fucking stupid. But as a Japanese trope, just give it to them. And I'm sure plenty of people are going to be in the comments, they've used it for centuries. They make machinery that does the same thing. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Give me your water. Just gotta pour it all over my face. Jesus. Iojutsu allows the wielder to charge forward and to swiftly cut down distant foes. Sure it does, Japan. Sure it does. Anyways, we have this, so we don't need this anymore. And I might as well... There's nothing really of importance down here. But I might as well just risk my life and fall down here to kill myself either way. Actually, I probably should just... Ooh, boy. That was a close one, wasn't it? That would have been funny. Too bad for you guys. It was only marginally hilarious. But here we have these two assholes waiting for us down here. Another thing about the partisan has this R2, which allows us to sweep attack both of them at the same time. So that's the advantage of... No, get off. Get off, sweetie. That's the advantage of this sort of thing. These little spears that have that sort of moveset. Now, there's a couple things. There's a path down here, and there's a path over here. And you can see that there's another soul over here. I don't even need these. But for the sake of your amusement, my amazing fans and patrons, I will risk my life to go pick this worthless shit up. Actually, this would have been pretty useful if you didn't have them already. But of course, you've already had experience with one of these guys so far, assuming that you went in through the depths. So, I don't know. And this is really strange, because this is the only one of these areas like it in the game, in which you walk over it and it actually shifts positions. So you can't kind of walk across it, and you can't run across it again, you have to kind of just go across it. And if I'm going to die, it's going to be to this thing. But it does shift. Ugh, man, it was really pulling for me to drop down on that right side just then. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't die in the process. And there's some fire dogs down here too. They might be dead already, I don't know. Anyways, there's nothing up here, I believe. Yeah, okay. And I'm trying my best not to get myself killed in the process of doing this. Where are those fucking dogs? Maybe they already fell to their deaths. Clear this out very carefully. And yeah, okay, it does work with the shield in this one. Okay, this is the last little thing in this whole area. And it's very easy to slip and fall down the right side. Is that a sock? Is that a sock? No, it's just wood. Oh well. I've disappointed myself. Okay. But that's it. One humanity. Wasn't that worth it? In case you can't guess, I'm not a total completionist in the sense that I need to pick up every single soul and humanity in the game. But when it comes to, like, items, yeah, I will. So usually I skip shit like that. This kind of just goes out into nowhere. But this is a good view. You can see the poor rendering. Oh man, that tree branch or root coming out looks amazing. That is rendered with complete and total precision. Amazing. By the way, I'll point out that's where we got the shield that we wanted. All these little spikes that are sticking out in every which direction. How they got there, I don't know. Maybe the denizens that came from the depths that made their home in Blighttown, maybe they built them. Maybe they made harnesses for themselves and took turns kind of lumbering over the edges so that they can install spikes that were of no benefit to anyone. Or maybe FromSoft is kind of just has assholes for designers. Who knows? Now let's see if I can... I actually should probably just homeward bone myself back, but I refuse. I want to die. I want to die. So let's just encourage the game to kill me. Good lord, I hate that fucking bridge. I can't stress how dangerous that bridge is. Why exactly it shifts its position, I have absolutely no idea. Really, just a mystical bridge. It's the bridge of mystery. Bridge of assholes. Okay. But now we are completely done with Blighttown. This calls for a celebration drink. Celebration cough. Celebration cough. But I think that's everything as far as my preliminary notes go. I should... No, there's one more thing, actually. I wanted to point out this is something I have not mentioned, despite kind of... I've kind of realized this since, like, I don't know, like, how many parts ago was it? Probably by this point, like, 6 parts or something. But I mentioned that the dev message in front of the catacombs area in which you go get the seance ring is the only one that I can think of that actually had a dev message. I was, well, not completely wrong in the sense that you understood the point, that it was they were very rare, and they are fairly rare. Oh lord, no, come on. Come on, body, hold it together. I'm going to die at an early age, I know it. It's probably going to be via stroke or suicide or who knows what else. But, there actually are, some people noted some, there are some that I realized later on that no one really seemed to have thought about otherwise. I showed off one actually in the kind of Tomb of the Giants area whenever I was going back for the first time. There's also one there, I'm not going to name them all off, but there's several. There's several in all sorts of areas. So it's not like it's completely unique to that one area. I'm going the wrong way. It's not unique to that one area, but they are pretty damn rare. So it's really bizarre that whenever you actually see one of those developer messages. Because, and I'm going this way just to appease you, I will use the rusted iron ring. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations. Even though you really don't even need it. You know, I can really, like, I can get across to this area without using the ring by just rolling. So it's not really a big deal. I mean, why do I even really need it? I mean, it's cute. It helps, it helps in the final little approach to the boss, I guess. So there's that? I don't know. But that's, I mean, see, I'm not even actually really using it. No, don't you start. They're rarely seen claw attack. They also, even more rare attack is they can make this pooping attack whenever you stand directly behind them. And, oh yeah, I need to do that. So already you can see her over there. That is Quelana. We'll be speaking to her briefly, and we're going to deal with those fucking mosquitoes as soon as we start speaking to her. But before that, I need to go over here, and I need to betray my kin. And you are... You know, Shiva, you're a cool guy. So cool you don't even need shit to lean up against. Amazing. Amazing. But here's how I'm going to handle the Japanese. I don't much care for your bullshit logic of unsheathing the sword at lightning fast speeds or whatever the hell you're doing. So I'm going to kill you in the most hilarious way possible. Probably by also killing myself at the same time, actually. Because I haven't done this in quite some time, so I'm probably going to screw this up. But you can, Whoop. Come on. No, no. Get out of the poison. Get out of the poison before we start doing this. But you notice I threw this at the ground and I kind of got a little bit toxic myself. But you can kill these guys by... Come on. Position correctly. You can kill these guys by just tossing big heaps of poo-poo at them. Which really, that's a good way of killing just about anyone, if you think about it. And the reason why that you would do this is so that you don't pick up aggro from Shiva whenever you're killing them. And he should trigger any moment now. There he goes. And I also need to do this with Shiva. And I don't know if... He might turn hostile immediately. I can't quite remember. Well, yeah, he doesn't much care for the fact that we're doing that. Okay, let's see what your Japanese training has taught you. But the other one, for some reason, does not aggro. Shiva, however, I guess a little bit too smart. He doesn't really appreciate all this poop. And I will keep him alive briefly to talk about this. But he originally had a subplot in which you had to search for the Chaos Blade for him, and once you found it, then he would betray you, kill you, and take it. Or no, you would give it to him, I believe. That's how it worked. And once he had it, then he would kill you with it to test it. And he basically kind of went crazy after that. And he generally just behaves like an asshole from that point on. You can find all that in his sort of cut audio files. He has fat roll, by the way, if you didn't notice. Hilarious.
You poor fool. You.
Now you notice his friend in the back apparently isn't too bright, because he also aggroed the moment that I began attacking Shiva. But apparently he's not smart enough to just go around the wood. Oh well. Humanity to humanity, which is a little bit odd that we're picking up to humanity. So long, Ghost. A Mirakumu, which we already have, and more importantly, the Iron Round Shield. And so long, little buddy. Finally died from all that poop. I know I would. And he picked... Oh, he does drop an additional thing. Humanity, okay. And the Darkwood Grain Ring. Okay, but the Darkwood Grain Ring. This used to be a huge-ass problem. Because you equip it... Actually, let's look at this first. This special ring crafted in an eastern land is made of gold. It sure looks like it, doesn't it? But with a good grain crest on its surface. So what's the point? If you're going to make it out of gold and then cover it in something, why the hell did you make it out of gold in the first place? Agents of subterfuge, or spooks, in this faraway land are particularly fond of the dark gold wood grain, God's sake, which greatly alters its wearer's rolling action. So in addition to having an overly convoluted description that is hard to read, apparently, it also makes you do this. I'm a ninja, I like flipping around. Yeah, I mean, this really highlights everything I despise about playing a fast character in a Souls game. Like, you can tell I'm sort of a fag about realism, you know, not total realism, but, you know, kind of, you know, just things being more down to earth, more settled, a little bit more, or less asinine, I guess. And the idea that you can, you know, if something, like if a big fireball is heading towards you, all you have to do is put your hands on the ground, turn a flip, and you'll evade it completely. Or if some giant sword is heading towards you, all you have to do is just do a flip, and you'll avoid it completely. Just the fact that you can do this, this really complicated PvP especially, because it became almost impossible to hit people in PvP, because people were just running around doing this. And especially with, like, using green blossoms to accentuate your stamina even further, and just putting a shield on, like a grass crest shield on your back, people just became gods of just being able to do this constantly. It made them almost completely invincible. Extremely irritating. They eventually made it to where you had to be below 25% equip burden to be able to use this appropriately. It used to be 50, so everyone used to use it. Really annoying. Oh. I kind of got on the... I think I got on the tail end of that. But I have fought people with it before. I probably should just be running. Got it anyways. Oh well. I don't really care. Actually, let's just go ahead and get rid of that. I'm thinking about it. Because these stupid mosquitoes are going to come down, most likely. No, you're actually going to leave me alone? Wow, that's a first. Usually they come down and pester me while I'm talking to my little kawaii girlfriend here.
A mere undead, yet you can see me. Fascinating. I am Quelana of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh. You have a gift. Are you too one who seeks my pyromancy, like Salomon?
Hell yeah, I want your pyromancy, girl. Really, I want your pyromancy. I hear you're very good at it. But this is Quelana. She appears... There's a variety of conditions in which she can appear, but the easiest one by far is just to have a plus 10 pyromancy flame. And that's it. That's all you really have to worry about. Someone that invades you can also be carrying one around, and that will make her also appear. There's a few other things that... I'm not even going to go down the list. Just look it up, for God's sake. So if you're one of these commenters that angrily post, "No, I didn't do that," well, just go look it up then, for God's sake. I don't have to hand-feed you everything. Anyways, yes, I want it.
Yes, of course. You should be expected. Very well. You shall be my
I can't wait.
But to pursue my pyromancy, you must...
Is it my undead virginity? Please take my undead virginity. Yes. Oh, apparently not. Actually, I have no idea what the hell she's talking about there. You have to give something up. I don't know, I mean, you have to give up souls, I guess, so there's that. Anyways, let's cut some time down here. Salomon was nicknamed the Great Fireball and believed pyromancy was rooted in the adoration of fire, so he apparently didn't think too much of pyromancy being the manipulation of life, and was a little bit more infatuated with its destructive capabilities, hinting that possibly, maybe Quelana was disappointed in some way with him. Who can say, really? And since Salomon is the one that actually led humanity down to developing pyromancy, then you can see why exactly humanity kind of forgot that it was about the manipulation of life, and instead solely about its destructive abilities. Quelana herself may not have invented these spells, but she is the source of all modern pyromancy in the human world, since Salomon is the source of all modern pyromancy in the human world himself, and he is her pupil. So humans could not manipulate fire until after the bed of chaos was born, at which point it was corrupted as an art, because that's when she began teaching him. This is kind of important since it insinuates that the chaos flame is not separate from the original first flame, but instead is warping that aspect of it, and changing the nature of life for anything that it happens to touch. Undead rapport can be used to do cute things like turn the undead merchants hostile against your own enemies. Not very useful, but still cute. The either gender part of the description is probably a holdover from a time very early in development, in which your gender selection may have played a more important part. It may also be related to why firekeepers are always female, but that's just a guess. It also says that the living are lured by flame, which is part and parcel to the art of pyromancy. Note that the fireball spell down here says that undead by their nature fear flame. Please ignore the fact that we see them carrying around torches and being around fire all the time. Yeah, just ignore that. But the living love flame, the undead fear it. While the undead fear fire, who can say? Maybe just because they burn real easy. Maybe because since it's their souls in humanity that powers the fire, they fear losing what little they have left. Maybe it's because it reminds them of what they lost, who can say? Either way, to me, despite the logistics of this idea making no real sense, I think Miyazaki was trying to make some sort of parallel to a man rising out of the abyss of history by forging civilization from fire, and the undead, who you can interpret as representing the poor, unwanted, or forgotten, or something like that, is fearing that progress, as they're the ones upon whose back that society is constructed. Many interpretations, that's just one. Make your own judgments. Back to Quelana.
Long ago, I accepted another pupil like yourself. Over 200 years ago, there was a man almost as bungling as you.
You barely know me.
He was called Salomon, the master pyromancer. The little rascal really made something of himself.
So Salomon is basically the father of all modern pyromancy in the human world. All pyromancy extends from this woman, Quelana. She taught Salomon, and Salomon, as a result, went out and started teaching his own followers, who, had their own motivations and whatnot.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking and manipulating fire. But remember one thing. Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
So she even tells us you need to be afraid of fire. So it's actually pretty wise of the undead, apparently, to fear the flame. And the reason for this will become clear later on, but her mother is the Witch of Izalith, of course, and she ended up losing herself to the flame of her own creation. She created another sort of aberration flame, another first flame, and was consumed by it as a result. And that's what she's talking about.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking...
Manipulating fire.
But remember...
Okay, so she doesn't say anything again just yet. Okay, and I do have that equipped, yes.
No luck. Well, young pupil, you must have patience, but do not keep me waiting much longer.
How about right now? How about right now? Come on, talk to me.
I was expecting
Let us
you.
begin. Okay. And that's her thing. That's what she says. If you don't buy anything, let's buy something from her, I guess. Great combustion. Now let's do that. Yeah, I have plenty. Okay. Actually, quite enough for... I'll get them all later on. I won't worry about it just now.
Now go. Whatever you do, do not crack and go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted.
I always thought the way that she says now go was really cute. Anyways, let's go over here and try to fight Kellogg's cornflakes without dying too much. Ah, god damn it. See, the fucking ring didn't even help. You people led me down the path to ruin, once again. Actually, let's get out of the way of these assholes. They won't go inside of here, thankfully. Okay, we are in Kellogg's domain. Gonna get myself some corn pops. Hell yeah. By corn pops, I mean something sexual, of course. Yeah, here it is. Another thing I really don't like about the Souls games is they have way too many items. It's really difficult to try to find exactly what it is that you're looking for. What should I use with her? It's probably not going to be too difficult of a fight. You can die in like one hit anyways. So it can be kind of difficult in some ways. I don't know. It's Wolf Ring, why not? I don't really care. It's not that important. And I'm using this shield specifically because I'm trying to... I probably won't even use the shield, to be honest. But here we have... I'll go into more detail about these guys later. But I will just point out for the time being, they are absolutely rife, just covered up in eggs. And if you destroy these things... Oh, should I? Actually, I'm still undead, so I can't show off Mildred. Damn it. No, I'm not going to go back. Fuck Mildred. Because Mildred is pretty much worthless in this fight. Anyways. But they do seem to be pleading towards this direction. And you can kind of hear them. You probably can't even hear it. But they're doing some sort of weird chant. Blah, 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 blah. But they do seem to be praying towards this area. They are either begging for death, or they are either pleading for help, or they are offering prayers to something. But I will be talking a lot about that in a bit. Let's go ahead and heal up while I'm thinking about it. And I'll go ahead and tell you that Quelaag, if you hit her in the head, she will stun. A lot of people like to use... what should I use? I don't know. Oh, I haven't used this yet. I can only use it one-handed, though. I haven't even tried to use this in quite some time. I don't know. I don't want to use a big, dumb weapon right now. Let's instead use... By the way, you can tell, this is the reason why I upgrade so many things. It's because I hate using the same weapon over and over again. But I do want to use... I might as well use one of these stupid things. Might as well, I guess. I mean, this is an okay weapon as far as damage goes. Just, I'm not a big fan of katanas. What the fuck is this? Yeah, this adds more damage in real life. Holding the weapon above your head. Yeah, that's what does it. Oh, for God's sake. Anyway, I guess I'll use this. Why not? But you can shoot her in the head with a bow, and that will stun her. Or you can use a weapon like a Black Knight Halberd and hit her in the head that way. But now silence for boobies. I'm already erect. They're great! I actually don't even know if that's a Kellogg's thing. Anyways, this is Quelaag. I hate it when she opens with that. She is really not too much of a big threat. Aside from, she can leave so much of this lava on the ground. that it can actually become a big problem because it's so hard to... Like right now, I can't even get near her because of this. But the one big thing that she does, she has a big area of effect explosion, sort of like the Asylum Demon that we were fighting early on. And if you get caught in that, you might get one hit kill, especially if you're kind of has shitty armor. Alright, come on, do something. Can't really... Oh, there she is. Okay. But usually, you can kind of get her into a pattern, sort of. She usually will do this. And what you actually want is for her to breathe lava. And she doesn't seem to be cooperating very much right now. Come on, sweetie. I mean, I enjoy looking at you. You're definitely eye candy, but I really need you to start spitting lava at me. There we go. Okay, that's what I want. Oh, for fuck's sake. But this is kind of the irritation with her. Really, the way that you're probably going to die more than any other is just getting annoyed with her and deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. And you rush in and start attacking her without any reservations about your own life. And that's probably the most common way that people end up dying to her. Okay. Anyways, let's try the... Oh, okay, cooperating. Very nice. But this is the best way to go about doing it. Whoop, I forgot. That's her... Yeah, there she is. I wasn't paying attention. But that's the move that can one-shot kill you if you're not paying attention. Which I just demonstrated. Fuck yeah, water. But I'll skip a little bit ahead. Actually, what I'll do, I'll go human, and then I'll show you off what's-her-face. And we're back, and here's Man-Eater Mildred. I wanted to point out that you can see that she's about to use that attack if she's lowering her head. And bringing Mildred here is actually a very bad idea, because it's just going to increase the amount of health that Quelaag has. Oh, Lord. And she is still using the knife and shitty... She didn't drop the plank shield, but she is using that shitty-ass plank shield. Come along, fatty. Eating all that humanity is not good for you. So how the hell she got fat while, you know, people like Smog ended up getting incredibly powerful and big? Actually, I guess Smog was pretty fat, too. Actually, in the concept art, they should... I'll say that for later, but he's actually a pretty fit guy. But she does sort of draw aggro, so she's kind of helpful sometimes. But other times she'll end up just getting trapped inside of a wall somewhere. But that, you can't really see it. It's, I don't know, it's kind of hard to distinguish between that move and that move that she just did and the sort of one-hit kill. It's not a one-hit kill, but it does a lot of damage. So it's kind of hard to distinguish between the two of them. But the gist of it... Whoa, see, that's what I was... See, it's not a one-hit kill. But I couldn't tell if she was actually doing it to, she was doing a stomp or not. But Mildred usually is... She'll attack whoever, did the last damage to her. Oh, there she goes again. I think... Nope, see, that was the stomp that time. It's been a while since I've actually fought her like this. I think the last few builds that I've actually been in this fight with were out, like I was using spears or something. Whoa! I don't remember that move. That's a new one to me. She waved her ass around, and I died. And she... and actually killed her anyways. Oh well, anyways. I guess I'll just warp back here in a second. And hey, if I had to die, that's the way I would want to go. A big face full of Quelaag's ass? I don't mind. Anyway, so long, Quelaag. Victory achieved. Actually, that was my third try, if anyone was wondering. But that's usually how that fight goes. Like, you can see this time I didn't even heal. You know, it's not that difficult of a fight. It's just, ever so often she'll use a move like wagging her ass at you, which I actually, I don't think I've ever even seen that one. So that's new. Really. Seriously. But ever so often she'll use that, or she'll use the move where she kind of bends over and goes limp, and then that huge area of effect explosion kind of happens. So that's the other thing. But this is where I'm going to cut off, and I'm going to go directly into post-commentary. Actually, here in a bit. I need to go down and actually show you the entrance first. Okay. Here, pull lever. And this is the second belt. So what does ringing both bells do? It does this. A giant, one of the lesser beings usually employed by the gods, who are not considered to be on par with the gods. They're simply considered to be servants, for the most part, who apparently are not incredibly bright. One of them opens the gates to Sen's Fortress, which is the entryway to proving yourself to get to Anor. And we're going to need to get to Anor because, as I said, Lautrec has done his dirty deed up above. So we're going to have to be concerned about that now. But here, I'm going to show off one last thing. Once you come down these stairs, in case anyone doesn't know about this, you will come across this area. To the left is the area in which that we will enter into the demon ruins. And here specifically is the hidden path to Inji, whatever the hell his name is, and the Fair Lady.
Oh dear, what have we here? Are you a new servant?
Say yes. Do not mash through this, or else you will get no. And if you do get no, then don't, like, kill him out of anger or something. Just quit out of the game and reload, and then you can get him to say the same exact thing. Yes.
But you have no
This is an important thing to remember.
No matter. Go along and have audience with our fair lady. I pray that you will mind your manners.
Notice he was surprised by the fact that you don't have eggs already. And he asked if you were a new servant of the Fair Lady. So he thinks that you were made a servant above, given eggs, and then sent down here. So he thinks it's pretty unusual that you actually, you know, are not already equipped with all sorts of weird things writhing in and out of your body.
What is it? Go along and meet our fair lady.
I think that's all he says until I actually speak to her.
What is
Okay, yeah, okay. But here's where things are going to get really fucked up. It's going to take a lot of rambling, and so I'm immediately going to cut into post-commentary. I will see you guys then. Okay, I'm going to try to split this up and hurry this as long as best as I can. But I want to get her dialogue out of the way, and then I'm going to do a minor cut, and then I'm going to go into the bulk of what I need to say about this. Because this is going to be a shitload of information. But this is the Fair Lady, or aka the Ancient White Spider, aka Quelan. She is not actually known as Quelan anywhere, but I think some of the subtitles in some of the versions of the game, I can't remember where it came from, but she is sort of known as that name as well. But let's go ahead and equip our ring that we need to be able to speak to her. And I'll go ahead and show us a description. Old Witch's Ring. Old ring from an old witch. Engraved minutely with indecipherable script, but seemingly useless. There's not much to say about this, other than is one of the starting things that you can bring as your starting gift. So it's something that is obviously found, as far as canon information goes, outside of Lordran. Like, you can get those from Snuggly, and Snuggly's in the Asylum, which itself is outside of Lordran. Who the Old Witch is, we have absolutely no idea. But whoever this old witch was, apparently they found some reason, like there was some need to create this ring which allows them to speak the language of the witches. We did see Quelana out there, who does seem to speak our language, but it may just be because she already had dealings with humans, obviously, like Salaman. So it's probable that she can actually speak the language of humanity. But as far as the witch goes, we can only surmise. But you might be able to assume that this is a ring that was made for the purposes of communicating with the witches during a much, much older time. Maybe not specifically the Fair Lady or anything like that. So that is my best guess. Let's go ahead and equip it, and now we should be able to hear, she should be able to interpret everything that we say. Although you will notice something a bit unusual about that.
Quelag, my dear sister.
So already, she thinks that we are the boss that we just got through killing. She believes that we are her sister. And if you can't tell, she's blind. She's obviously very infirm. She has the same kind of nails and spider body that her sister does. Whenever they fled the creation of the Chaos Flame, they were bound to spider demons that were created during the same event. So, she is one of two that we actually see, and of course the other one was Quelaag, and who is now dead. So Quelaag already, we learn, apparently was protecting her. Or at least, you know, at least was containing her. Whether or not she had actually erected this wall that we just got through banishing, I can't really say. But we can only make assumptions. Let's continue.
What is it?
You can tell she opens her eyes and looks at us very briefly, but of course she can see nothing.
Quelaag, my dear sister. Yes, it hurts. They've gone still. I am afraid it may be too late. I am so sorry, dear sister.
I'll just go ahead and say to remember everything that she's saying here, because this is all going to be making up the vast bulk of what I have to say later.
I'll be fine. I have you, dear sister. But promise me that you will take care of yourself.
Now, she has lost the only person that's really keeping her going. She is very ill, she's very sickly. She seems to be almost near death, as it is. But she says that that's okay, she doesn't really mind all the pain that she's in, because she at least still has her sister. But of course her sister is now dead. And why exactly she's mistaking you for her sister, I don't know. It could be that the old witch's ring is actually imitating the voice of Quelaag. It could be that she's just so infirm that she just can't tell the difference. Or maybe she's hearing... Maybe how the ring works is it replicates what the person is used to hearing. And in this case, that would be her sister. Maybe that's how it works. We can only assume. We can only assume.
I'll be fine. I have you, dear sister. But promise me.
And notice, we never correct her.
Take care of yourself.
And that's all she has for the time being. Before I join the Covenant, and I'm going to join the Covenant, let's go here and talk to MG.
It was so very nice to chat.
It seems like she hasn't really spoken to her sister very often. Like, it's not a day-to-day interaction. Because it does seem that she's not quite surprised, but maybe she hasn't seen her in a few weeks or something.
You speak the tongue of the fair lady? Well, do not be rash with your pride. You have yet to earn my trust. If you try anything funny with the fair lady, there will be hell to pay.
It is kind of funny that he is so aggressive about this. He obviously does not really pose a threat to us, or anyone for that matter. But he obviously cares very deeply about her, and he doesn't want to see anything bad happen to her.
There is no time for idle chat. Think only of our fair lady and what she may need.
Okay. I think that's all he says.
Nothing to say to
Okay.
you, except if you lay a hand on the fair lady, you should be prepared to face my wrath.
And face his wrath, indeed, we shall. There's a couple things I need to get done. I need to unlock all of his vendor equipment, and I also need to donate a shitload of humanity to her, which is going to be the bulk of what's going to follow after this. And I think that's okay. But his dialogue will open it up a bit more after we get through doing this. I'm going to briefly step into the demon ruins and show you the way to unlock everything as far as he goes is to get yourself infected with a bloathead. And then after that, we can grow ourselves a nice puffy big head. Let's go ahead and like this. And I'm not going to go too much into everything that's here, but we have more of these guys. And remember that they are here, and they are facing every direction. Some of them are facing towards them, some are facing away. some are facing inward towards the ruins themselves to the pathway, and there are a couple down here that are aggressive towards us. And these are the ones that we actually want. And they will have a specific attack that we want to get hit by. And it's a worm erupting out of their heads that they'll actually use it. There we go. Well, not quite. It'll latch onto our heads and lay an egg. If they'll actually do it. And lay it there. No, come on. It took them a while, so I just went ahead and skipped ahead. There you go, sweetie. Give me those sweet, sweet kisses. Transfer those eggs deep into my belly, or my head. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but they really get the job done. Okay. But I usually let them hit me with it a couple of times, because it seems like sometimes it doesn't work. Like if you get hit by it once, which actually did happen, I got hit by it and then I went back and noticed that nothing was actually going on, so I actually had to come back. But you notice, there, once you start scratching your head, that's when you know that the deed has been done. You've been inseminated. Yay! You're going to have a baby. Out of your face. Okay, well let's head back, and we'll wait for that to pop, and in the meantime, I will get my notes and prepare for this shitload of information that I'm going to have to lay down. Again, the majority of this is going to be about Quelaag, the Fair Lady, and the Chaos Covenant, as well as a few other minor little things. And it seems like... Do I talk to her here? No, I don't. Okay. But we'll just wait here, and it'll pop here in a split second. We're going to switch here, and then BAM! Here's the magic. Be sure to eat the placenta. Don't let it go to waste. But finally, we have ourselves a nice big puffy head. And this will make NG trust you, because now you are infected with the eggs that are associated with this Chaos Covenant. And again, I'll get more into this in a bit. By the way, you can also...
You're just like me. Your dedication is fully apparent. Only, well, your head looks awful. Why not try this? I've no use for it any longer.
It seems like they all take their eggs in the back. For some reason, I got mine in the head, which is probably the reason why he's giving this to us, because he's like, you look like shit, though. Try again, try again. But let's go ahead and take a look at the egg vermifuge here. I will say that the weird tree lizard things from one of the Ulasil area drop these as well. Egg vermifuge, bitter sour chestnut, roost, parasitic egg from body. The egg bearers have chosen to serve the flame of chaos, and the eggs symbolize this selfless choice. Now, we're going to be looking... I'll go back over that description later on once I actually get to it. But for time being, let's get rid of it.
What is it that you need?
And now he trusts us completely, and we can buy anything that we want off of him. Let's go ahead, and I think, of course, we've already picked up this. I already have one of those. Toxic Mist, unique pyromancy crafted by NG, considered Hurricane Great Swamp, blah, blah. Why was NG driven from the swamp? One only need cast this pyromancy perverse diversion from the art of fire to find out. So the reason why that he is here, that he was driven into Blighttown and then eventually here, was because he was perverting the kind of laws of nature.
I am envious. What comfort can I offer without speaking her tongue?
So he can't actually speak the language of the witches, unlike ourselves. So that makes the relationship between the two of them a bit more clear.
Worse than undead. We are diseased and unwanted, like the grime of the great swamp. But my dear fair lady, she cried for me and swallowed the great blight pus, despite Mistress Quelag's orders to the contrary.
Oddly, he addresses Quelaag by name.
Undead-like,
And that's all he says. Oddly, he addresses her by name, which is going to come up in a bit, but it's probably because at one point, Quelaag was actually the Covenant leader, which I'll go into more in a bit. And I think this is all she says here.
Don't mind me. It doesn't hurt terribly.
Okay. But she is still in pain.
You know, I still remember
Oh?
beautiful, silky face. If only I could gaze upon it once more.
About that. Yeah, let's pass on that for the time being. shall we?
I'll be fine. I have you, dear sister. But promise me that you will take care of yourself.
I'll try.
Enter a covenant again, of course. Let me try.
Notice she says enter a covenant again. Kind of important. We're going to go ahead and drop our kitty covenant, which I'm kind of done with. Sorry, Alvina. Kind of need to do this, though. And she automatically gives you this pyromancy just for joining. Okay, but now we are entered into a covenant with the Fair Lady, which is going to come up in a bit. And that's all she says of that. Okay, now I can get right into the bulk of things.
Be safe.
For the time being, I'm just going to be you're going to see me giving myself humanity and leveling up to the point where we get Covenant level 2. And at that point, we basically are done with the Covenant. But I went ahead and cheated in like 50 extra self-humanity to get myself up to level 3 of the Covenant, which doesn't actually do anything. You don't get any rewards for it. It doesn't benefit you in any way, so don't go throwing a fit about that. But supposedly, it makes it so that her movements become a lot more active. Like right now, she's very weak. She doesn't really move around too much. And supposedly, once you hit that 3rd tier, then she becomes a bit more lively. Which, personally, I don't really see it that much, so this is going to be a learning experience for me as well. Okay. Enjoy watching me offer self-humanity to her for the next hour, or whatever it's going to be. Because you're going to see every one of them. And by the way, I set up a mouse macro to where it automatically offers them to it. So all these little cuts that you're going to be seeing is me trying to get it set absolutely perfectly. This mouse is a bit finicky with that. Okay. But, let's go ahead and talk about this. The Chaos Covenant, Quelaag and the Fair Lady. The Covenant exists only to bring humanity to the Fair Lady. We know this, aka the Angel White Spider, Quelana. Originally, Quelaag, early in development, was the leader of the Covenant. You would go into the boss fight, and maybe you had to beat her, maybe you had the option of fighting her, but she originally had dialogue. We don't know specifically that it was her, but it's pretty obvious that it is her. And that she talks about joining the Chaos Covenant, and it sort of implies that she's the one that's gathering humanity for Quelana. In other words, the Fair Lady, even in that version, she was not malicious. She's not the one that's sending you out to kill people to take their humanity to bring back to her. She doesn't really even seem to know what's going on. Either Quelana is consuming the humanity, like this, taking it and sort of ingesting it into herself, or she is burning it in the fire to heal, since, you know, Estus radiantly heals you as you are close by. Or she is using it to put inside of her eggs. This gets really confusing later on. Now, as far as the eggs go, they're kind of different kinds. There's one that was just laid inside of our face by the little ones. There's the big ones, and she kind of just says this generic dialogue anytime that you go up in Covenant rank. And there's the big ones that are sort of surrounding her, and we saw more of them in Quelaag's lair, where we actually defeated her. So there's those kinds as well. But hers, Quelan's, or the Fair Lady's, have gone still. And she did seem to imply that it hurts because they went still, or because of her own pain they went still, or something like that. The way that the one that was infecting us goes, if you have it on your head, it drains souls. And it seems like if you hit 10,000 souls drained or something, I can't remember. It develops into a finalized, kind of realized form. And it gives you a melee attack in which that little worm thing comes out of your head and grabs onto other people's faces in kind of the same way that the Covenant followers did to you earlier. What exactly are in the eggs? You know, why is she concerned about them? Why do they hold humanity? Do they even hold humanity? We learn later on that yes, they do. Maybe, I mean, do they contain also baby worms? You know, obviously the guys that have the eggs on their back, if you kill them, then a lot of tiny little centipede creatures, little bitty worms, will pop out of them and attack you, and they're extremely aggressive and dangerous, which is why I didn't do it. But those sort of look like the demon worms that pop out of the walls that we will see later, and also they sort of also look like the centipede demon, which we will see later. And I won't go too much into that, but I just wanted to make you aware of that association. Quelan believes the eggs are cradles for each tiny humanity, as though they were developing into something. And we learned that from her Firekeeper's soul. Like, if you kill her and pick up her soul, this is exactly what her soul says. That she believes that the eggs are cradles for each tiny humanity. Exactly what it says. And even the original Japanese translation, I actually had to look this up, says basically the exact same thing verbatim, so that made it especially confusing. So, they do seem to contain humanity, or at least she thinks that they can contain humanity. The eggs could have been a way for her to help the swamp, maybe. Maybe she was collecting humanity to try to redistribute it to the people of the swamp, to try to heal them, but to her sister, maybe it was just a way of containing the humanity to heal her. You know, we don't really know. Why exactly would she be tending to a fire for the undead? I'll point this out. Like the bonfire that's right next to her. She is a firekeeper. Is she even aware that she's a firekeeper? We don't know. But why would she be doing it? Would she be doing it to try to help the swamp people? Like, they seem to be undead, in addition to having this affliction. Maybe she's just sitting next to it for the sake of her own healing. It seems unlikely that she would be tending to it for the sake of Lord Gwyn, like the other firekeepers do. And it seems unlikely that Lord Gwyn would even realize, and I'm finally done here with the first 30, but be prepared, here comes 50 more. But it seems unlikely that Lord Gwyn would have handed down this duty to her specifically. It seems far more likely that this was a bonfire that they came across that was being tended by someone else or had been abandoned, and then she just kind of became a firekeeper on her own. Again, this is not clear, and that's all just guessing. Maybe the fire heals her and she doesn't know the humanity is feeding it. Maybe that's how it works. Her sister brings her humanity, which is stored in the eggs, or she consumes it, and the humanity is what is being burned within the fire to keep it going, to keep her healed. Again, just guesses. But I'll point out she says, enter a covenant again. Let me try. So covenants apparently are a magical sort of binding that requires some degree of effort. Also, it means that the old one with Quelaag was broken or expired somehow. Or maybe, you know, like I said, it seems like she's been a while since she saw her, so maybe it is that Quelaag, you know, maybe Quelaag just kind of ran out of people to ransack, and it's just been a very long time since they've had access to any sort of humanity. And that's the reason why that Quelan is in the shape that she is now. It could also, I mean, there's a lot of other interpretations that you can play with. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. And it could be that the covenant was broken because we just killed her. Although it seems like, if that was the case, then Quelan would be very curious about why the covenant was broken in the first place. So it could just be that it's just been, I kind of go down that line of thought, that it's just been a very, very long time. Now, whenever we hit 30 of these self-humanities given, that unlocked a secret path that leads to Izalith. Which we're going to be using much later on for the sake of Solaire and so on. But why exactly is this path sealed by this specific covenant? The path, we'll see later on, once we actually get there, the path is even marked with 30 humanity symbols. We'll see them on the walls. A lot of people don't know this, but there are 30 little humanity symbols that are etched onto that secret path. And that's kind of your tip, that you need to give over that amount to be able to unlock it. Quelan doesn't know who you are specifically, so she probably didn't open it. Which seems to mean that maybe it's automatic. But why the hell is it automatic? Did Quelaag seal it? Did the Witch of Izalith herself seal it? Did a demon seal it? Did the Chaos Covenant followers seal it? And in that case, why exactly would it open whenever you give 30 self-humanity? Maybe it's because they knew, well, if they have offered 30 self-humanity, then that's really helped out Quelan here. So maybe that's why it opens. But, you know, why would it lead back? I mean, obviously, if anyone is doing this, that would open up the path to their mother, which would put them in danger. So do they not care about their mother? Maybe the path was actually sealed by Gwen. Maybe it was sealed by Gwen whenever they had their failed attempt to retake Izalith from the Bed of Chaos. But that doesn't really... It doesn't make any sense in regards to why it would be linked then to this covenant. So that is really fucking confusing. Sometimes demons are mindless. Like, most of the ones that we see, they just kind of wander around. They don't really have any purpose or anything. And sometimes they're not. And I say sometimes they're not because the gargoyles that we will find in Sin's Fortress obviously have some sort of purpose. They carry you up to Anor Londo. They seem to serve within Anor Londo, and even if you dispel the illusions in Anor Londo, they are still there doing their jobs. It doesn't really seem like the Witch of Izalith has any real motivation these days. I mean, she's just the Bed of Chaos. She just seems to be a mindless monster at this point. And I will point out the egg vermifuge. It says that egg bearers serve the flame of chaos. So, and you'll notice that a lot of them were facing outwards. They weren't facing towards the Fair Lady. They were facing in all directions. So, it does seem like that they are in service to the Bed of Chaos. And again, I will point out that the blight pus, that NG kind of brought with him, which I don't know if it infected the other guys, or maybe the people that are within the Covenant now are people that were originally from the Depths or people from Blighttown. We don't know. There's no clue whatsoever. But this all happened after the Bed of Chaos was born. I'll just point that out. But the Egg Vermifuge just says that they serve the Flame of Chaos. So they are not serving the Fair Lady. They are actually worshipping the Flame of Chaos, the aberration First Flame. And I'll point out that Quelan and Quelaag and Quelana fled their mother. Like, whenever the Izalith fell, they ran. And we will meet actually one of their sisters later on that didn't run. So maybe they do fear their mother, but maybe they still want to protect her. Again, we don't know. So are Chaos servants serving the Witch, or the Fair Lady, or maybe Quelaag? Selfless seems to mean that they're doing it for some sort of greater good. But they're giving themselves over to these weird egg things, because they seem to drain radiant power from them, which might end up developing into an individual humanity, which would then be given over to the Fair Lady. So maybe they think that they're serving Quelaag specifically, because that seems to be the implication. That all the Chaos Covenant things that we see are actually how it was originally supposed to work. You would approach Quelaag, and then she would offer you this covenant where she lays an egg in you. So I wouldn't mind Quelaag laying her eggs in me. She does that, and as a result, you become sort of a power cell for her. And maybe once it develops into a fully realized bloathead, then you harvest it, and it contains the humanity, and that's what the eggs are? I don't know. But it does seem that Quelan puts eggs on the servants, or Quelaag. But, are they unrelated, or are they just used as tools? Are they laying the worms? Or is it just something that they found and were like, hey, we can use this for the sake of the Fair Lady? And maybe that's how it works. So, we don't know. We just don't know. You can see what a big clusterfuck this is. But it seems like if that's how it works, there's a lot of these bloathead guys that are fully developed that have not been harvested. So does that mean that Quelaag has actually betrayed her sister? I wouldn't like to think that, but that is one interpretation that you can roll with. And here we have, finally, a fully realized Covenant rank of Tier 3. Now you can take a look at her and see if she is more active, but she doesn't say anything new. So nothing has really changed. But promise me, guys. So, I don't know. This is Tier 3, so take a look. Does she look more lively to you? To me, it kind of looks exactly the same, but maybe I'll look at the video side by side later and decide otherwise. But, again, the egg vermifuge things drop from those weird snake things that we found in the forest earlier. The area that was sort of outside Ulasil. But maybe they aren't... And he doesn't really have anything new either. Yeah. But maybe they drop from the trees, and the snakes that were on the trees, the weird lizard snake things, just so happened to be there, and that's how that works. So maybe the eggs are something that actually the ancient Ulyssilians were making that were actually magic, and they were grown. And they were actually using it in their own way to try to heal the kind of sickness that was coming out of Izalith. So, I don't know, these are just my best guesses here. But as you can see, this is a big clusterfuck of an area, where nothing really seems to make sense. What happened to Blighttown? We don't know. Angie, what exactly is the blight pus that he brought with him from the Great Swamp? We don't know. Was it something he accidentally had happen to him in his own experience? We don't know. But we do know that Quelan got the blight pus from him, took it into herself, and that's the reason why she's so sickly and white now. And we know that he cannot speak her language. Quelaag apparently can, because he knows Quelaag's name. And he also was in service to the Fair Lady, so obviously Quelaag allowed him to come in here in the first place. So this whole relationship and how all of this works does not make any sense. But originally, this is one of those undeveloped things. I imagine that Miyazaki at some point originally had it in his head that this is how it works. You go to Quelaag, you enter the Covenant, and then you might secretly find out later, oh, she's actually using the humanity that you're delivering to her in order to heal her sister. But at some point in development, they decided, you know what, just fucking kill her, and you can find out the hard way. Which, to me, is a much better way of doing it. But that's the mess that we're looking at. And that's it for now. I will see you guys next time. Think about it.